have a curious question for you, and there's 3 answers. You get to choose A, B, or C. Here is the question. The situation is this. Your intuition has just given you clear navigation. Go that way. That's your North Star. That's where you're directed to. Go next. That's it. You can feel it. But the reality is you're nowhere near that. It feels far away. And if anything, you're pointed in a different direction. So what do you choose? You are an intuitive heroine and you are living an intuitively inspired life. So do you choose A, B, or C? A, I follow my intuition without doubt. I will jump off the intuitive cliff and I will just trust that it will work out in freefall. B, question it, deny it. I don't know, intuition, because that doesn't look like anything in my world right now. Maybe you got it wrong. Or C, pause and play. Add some more curious questions and intuition's best friend, creativity. So my friends, which do you choose? How lucky are you? Today, your intuition is saying, go that way. But it's not always clear. To which do you choose? A, jump, B, deny, or C, pause and play. Now, whatever you've chosen, just be all right about it. We're all figuring it out. And I'll tell you, I've chosen all 3. I have so many times in my divine life jumped off that cliff. Ooh, I'm an excellent jumper because I follow my intuition. I'm like, yes, that's the way to go. And Deborah leaps. And you know what happens? A whole heap of anxiety comes in. Where's my safety net? Worry, have I made the right choice? And a whole heap of doubt and overthinking that follows that jump. I've also done B, where it's really clear, go that way. And I'm like, well, that's actually not convenient right now. Or that would take a lot of work in me rearranging things and I'd have to get uncomfortable. So actually, why don't I just stay here? I'm just going to pretend I didn't hear that. I've so done that. And I tell you what happens. Your inner guidance system just keeps rerouting and coming back to, we're trying to tell you to go that way. And so, maybe it's a month, maybe it's 6 months, sometimes it's a year before I'm like, fine, all right, I'll do it. But C is what I chose to do in January this year, and it gave so much more than I believed it could. And I've been living an intuitively inspired life for a while, my friends. And I got to the place where, oh, wow, this gets better. So that's where we're going today in our story playtime inside the Be Her podcast. I am so tickled pink that you are here. If this is the first time you're hanging out, g'day. Welcome to the Intuitive Heroine Playground. Here in the podcast, we're telling stories and figuring it out together. And if you're back figuring it out with me again, thank you so much for choosing this time for you, because we're doing the damn thing. We're reclaiming our intuitive wisdom. We're remembering who the fuck we are and returning to heroine status in our life and in our leadership. That's what we do as intuitive heroines. And today we're going to play in intuitive navigation and the realities of living an intuitively inspired life. So let's go to story time. It's winter solstice 2025. And I choose a ritual I've never done before. I saw this ritual from a woman who I follow on Instagram, and she said, hey, this is what I'm doing. And I'm like, that sounds really fun. I'm going to do that too. You may know this. You may have done this yourself. And what it is you choose on winter solstice, which is December 21, you choose 12 wishes, intentions, goals, or desires for the coming year, for the coming seasons. So on winter solstice, I sat down and I wrote out the 12 things that I want. And I went from like personal, like what do I want as a woman? What do I want in my marriage? What do I want for the community within Be Her? What do I want in my bank balance? And what do I want, which is like in the dream sphere? And I mean, as step one, that was really fun to get really clear with like, here are the top 12. But then this is where the magic comes in. You write each of those on a bit of paper, and then you put them each on its own bit of paper, fold them up, and you put them inside a jar or wherever. I put them inside a jar. And then each day from winter solstice for the next 12 days, each day you choose one piece of paper. So I pull out the first piece of paper and I read what that wish or intention or desire is. I get really clear. Yep, I want that. And then you say, well, over to you, universe. And then you either rip it up or, like I did, I went into my backyard and I burnt it. And now the idea of this is that everything you want can come true. But if we are trying to do 12 things at once, we're scattering and fracturing our intentions, our magic, our magnet. So the idea is that you make it clear to the universe, here's all the things I want. This is what's important to me. But you give most of that over to the universe so that you will be guided in getting those things. But you do this each day until there is one piece of paper left in the jar, and that is the focus point. That is the everything for the next 12 months until the next winter solstice. So I'm doing this from December 21st all the way to the 1st of January 2026, and I pull out the final piece of paper and it says, write book number 2. And I'm pretty happy about this because I have wanted to write book number 2 since almost the moment I published book number 1 in December 2019. And then, COVID happened, and then I moved to the Caribbean, I married a Russell werewolf, stuff's been going on. But the whole time it's felt like I've been trying to get back to this navigation point, which is I just want to write books. And here it is on the bit of paper, write book number 2, write the book for the intuitive heroines. And I'm like, yes, this is my North Star. And I begin the year with like, yeah, this is the year I'm going to be writing the next book. And yeah, this feels so good until I look at what I had already planned. And this is the bit where the wheels could have fallen off. And this is the bit where I paused to add curiosity, creativity, and just explore what's possible. Because in December, I got ahead of the 8 ball and I started inviting women into the Be Her journey, a 12-week group program journey with me that was starting in February. Now, it was a brand new program. I had clear curriculum and a clear sense of where I wanted this journey to go for the women. And I had quite a few women already signed up for it and already paid. So I was committed February, March, April. I was busy. I was writing a new program, building all the resources for it, guiding the women through it. And I knew that that was going to take a huge part of my creative life as well as my working life. Because on top of that, I've got private clients, I have the membership community, I have all, like, you're picking up what I'm putting down. So I'm looking down the barrel of 2026 and I'm like, whoa, I've got a problem here. Because through the magic of me giving over to the universe everything I need to concern myself with, to be left with my one focal point, in the way of that is a whole heap that I had already planned. My life was not set up for me living my best life underneath the tamarind tree at the sheep farm writing book number 2. And God, I really wish it was. Because it is. It's my North Star. It's my desire. And we have to be real in our lives, in our intuitively inspired lives. It's not all magic, unicorns, and rainbows, because stuff's got to get done and rent's got to be paid, honeybee. I couldn't abandon the program. But the magic had told me to write the book. So at first, I will admit, I felt really funky and weird about it. Have I made a mistake? Should I have not been proactive in December and getting ahead of that 8 ball? Because that's not normally my move either. Normally, I might start building this in January for the February. And I was like, nah, we're growing up in business. We know what direction we're going. This feels good. And I had to note that this felt good. Running the program feels good. And also I'm committed to it. So how do I now also stay committed to this North Star, to where the magic and the ritual and what I intuitively know is good for me, and also what I really, really want? How do I get both? And this is the way I did it, and the way you can also do it. Because when we get intuitive navigation, whether it's through a ritual like I did, or whether it's you're in an amazing meditation, or you get it through a card reading, or you get it through a dream. Now, that's happened to me before. I've had it through a dream. It is the navigation, but it doesn't give you the way to go. So it's like looking at a GPS. You might be like, I'm at home and I want to get over to here. I want to get to this address. So you put it into your GPS and you can see you are here. And there's your destination, and here is the route to go. And it even tells you it's going to take you 17 minutes. And they may even tell you, actually go this way because there's an accident or a roadblock on the other way. So the GPS gives you all of the data and the detail that you need. And wouldn't it be lovely if our intuition gave us that? And it can give us clues along the way. But the thing that we need is to remember that intuition is the navigation. It's not the vehicle. You are. As the heroine, you're the one making the moves that drive the story forward. So what do you do when you've got a clear navigation to go one way, but it doesn't feel like it's stitching up, or it feels like it's too much of a leap? What do? You play. The best question you can ask yourself at that point is this: what does this make possible? What does this make possible? So this is what I did in January. After freaking out for a couple of days and thinking maybe I've done the wrong thing, or maybe I just have to delay the dream and get to the book later, like maybe I'll wait till May. But then I've cut out a huge quarter of the year. I just went all around in circles until I took a sip of my own medicine and went, you got to add creativity and curiosity. So one day I walked away from the laptop. I got out the colored pens, big bits of paper. I put on some music because that kind of gets me down into my body a little bit. And I decided I'm going to play with what is possible here. What is possible here? How can I figure this out? Because I know my intuition is on point, driving me towards that you want to get here destination. For me, that's write book number 2. But where I was in a whole chapter of busy. So how do I work busy and get there? So I started to play with possibilities. I started to map out what I wanted the book process to feel like. I started to map out the program. I started to explore, how can I put this program together that it might give me some more time? How can I start to write the book while I'm also doing the program? And I played. There was lots of bits of paper, quite a few songs on the playlist, me walking away, coming back. And then at one point, and I'm talking like this is a couple of hours in, this isn't like sit down and journal for 10 minutes and you're going to get your answer. I really went into creativity, play, and possibility, because I was like, there is an answer here, because my intuition doesn't lie to me. I am to write book number 2 in 2026. And I know that intuition is my guide, but I want to be grounded in strategy and reality. And mama's still got to keep making some money, and there's women waiting for me to turn up as their teacher. So I'm playing and I'm playing and I'm playing, and then it was like this magical moment where it was like the angels singing, "See, we told you, everything is always working out for you. You are always moving in the right direction," because this is what I saw in the creative chaos of these different bits of paper is the program, the Be Her Journey, is the book. The program is the book. They are one in the same. When that happened, I'm telling you, I was hearing the angels singing, there were fireworks going off, my whole body was this yes. And I was like, that's the part I didn't have. They are one in the same. I was right to get ahead of the 8 ball and to get women into the playground with me, because I am now in the 2nd cohort of the Be Her journey, and every step of that journey is a chapter in the book. Such fun. So what I have been doing since February when we began is I have been embodied inside the book. Week 1 of the first cohort in early February, before I began teaching, before we called in the circle, I said to the 8 women in the circle with me, I said, I have a really important question to ask you, and you have every right to say no, thank you. And the question was, can I record our steps of the journey? Can I be inside your journey, your stories, your transformation, not just as your teacher, but also as the author of The Way of the Intuitive Heroine? And I was clear. This meant that some of the stories they told inside that Zoom room may end up inside the book as testimonial stories, not testimonial so much as in like, and this is how it happened for, and a real woman's story. I mean, obviously, there's all the legal stuff you do around that if you're going to use someone's exact story. You know what I mean? There's more steps in it, but I needed to be really clear from the beginning. This is what this is for me, and you have every right to say no, because that's not what you paid for. You didn't pay to be inside the book with me. You paid to be inside the journey. And it was so beautiful, because I asked each woman to unmute and give me a verbal yes or no. And everyone was a yes. And it felt quite emotional and elevating, because they were all like, yes, and thank you. We're so happy that we're here. Of course we want to support you. And what an honor to be with you in this process. I was like, this gets good for all of us. And then I did the second thing again in May when I started with the second cohort. I asked the same question and everyone said an absolute yes. So I now have not only my experience in the journey for the intuitive heroine and how all of these women and their lived experience of like what actually changed. And then more than that, inside the teaching, what was clear and what needed clarification. So it's now June and, almost the end of June. Have I been writing the book? Yes and no. Yes, I've been inside the book by teaching the Be Her journey. And it's a journey in writing the book that I didn't see on January 1st. So no, I haven't written the introduction. No, I haven't actually. But have I been writing the book? Yes, through experimentation and embodiment with the women inside the Be Her journey. So for you, what can this mean? Intuition says go that way. This is the way for you. Either take that course of study because then you can move into that career, or start to change your lifestyle in this way and you'll get the health and wellness that you're seeking. Or leave that person, leave that job, move to a new place. Sometimes our intuition is going to show us something that is way down the GPS. There's many steps to take. And this is where it can get overwhelming and where some people will either just jump and go for it, but there's no structure and scaffolding to support it. Done that lots of times. Or not know how to get to where intuition is navigating them. So they either ignore it completely or start to outsource the way. So you want to be moving towards C. So this is the work that I do with not only inside the journey, this is a part of like understanding yourself as an intuitive woman and being the heroine and moving your story forward. That's the Be Her journey. But when I'm working with women leaders, the one-on-one work that I do, this is a huge part of what I do. Because this is it, my friends. We are guided by intuition, but we must be grounded in strategy. Your intuition can help you build the scaffolding of that strategy, but that's what you actually do. That's the aligned action that is to be taken. So you can add curiosity and creativity. So when you get a clear navigation and you can feel it in your body, this is a yes for me. I feel it in my waters. This is the direction I want to go. Add creativity and curious questions. And you want to do like I did, which is find a way to get out of your head and into play. Because when we get intuitive navigation, particularly when it's about our life or our work or our love or our abundance, it can be scary at first or so uncertain because our intuition is going to take us to new landscapes where we haven't been before, which means you're going to have to change and transform along the way. Like for me as the author, I didn't know in the first few days in January that I was going to be so lucky to be able to live inside the book with 2 cohorts of women with me before I write even the introduction. I didn't know that. But now I feel how this is working for me, how it's made so much more possible for me. And what it also means is it's a slower process. Because did I want to start writing that introduction in February? Absolutely. And I knew that that wasn't actually the strategy that was going to get me there. So for you, what's possible if we slow it all down and start to get curious about what are the ways I can go that are going to get me there? And in that creativity, in that curiosity, your intuition is still there guiding you, but you are the one who creates the strategy. What steps are you going to take in what order? Because living an intuitively inspired life means, yes, we are listening to our intuition, but we are grounded here, earthbound, where it's real down here. We need to be responsible for what we need to turn up for. We don't want to put ourselves in any more stress, worry, doubt, anxiety. And we do want to find a way to be able to move forward in a way that feels good. Because if it doesn't feel good, it's not going to get you there. You will punk yourself out if you just leap towards. I mean, I love a good leap, but I have learned to create the safety net, which means slow it down and ask, what does this make possible? What is possible for me if I begin to move in this direction? One little shimmy at a time, my friends. One little shimmy at a time. And so here's the good news about the fact that it's June, almost July. The second half of the year, I am in the writing of the book. I'm more than halfway through the Be Her journey with the second cohort. And in the second half of the year, I have got big chunks of time where it's me underneath the tamarind tree here on the island, in Australia on a writer's retreat with my mum. I'm also taking some time to spend with one of my soul sisters in Vermont to also be writing. So I have been able to find the places and spaces that are going to support me to bring this intuitive navigation to light. And what that also means is, if you want to be a part of the journey in what comes next for all of us as intuitive heroines, as I'm writing this book, where you want to be is Substack. Because in the second half of the year, I will not be running any more group programs. The membership is closing. I am making space for the writing of book number 2, but I am doubling down on my engagement in Substack, and in particular for the paid subscribers on Substack. There's going to be all of the intuitive navigation, all of the heroine moves happening there. The Be Her Collective now has one HQ, one digital home, and that is Substack. So if you want to say yes to living an intuitively inspired life and need some help figuring out, well, how the fuck do I do that? Because there's some stuff I got to figure out here. If you're ready to be the heroine of your life and your story, it's your turn. Because we're reclaiming, we're remembering, and we're returning, my friends, because we are the women of the gentle revolution. We are intuitive heroines. And if you want to be a part of the we, join us on Substack. All right, all the links are below. And for you, always say yes to intuitive navigation. But always remember, it's you. You're the heroine. You're the one making the moves.